This film begins by introducing three friends, Ped, Kung, and X, who are standing in front of a big stadium. At that time, Kung confidently tells his friends that this place will be where they perform in the future. Then, the story goes back to when Ped and Kung were still in elementary school. One day, their music teacher asked Ped, who was a shy kid, to come to the front of the class and sing a song, just like the other students. But Ped was so nervous that he just stood there, not singing at all. This made the other kids in the class start teasing him. And Kung, who was Ped's best friend and also in the same class, wanted to help him. So, he started throwing paper balls at the kids who were teasing Ped. This turned into a paper ball fight between Kung and the bully. At the same time, another classmate named Ern, who was sitting at the front, tried to help Ped too. She gave him some hints about what song to sing. Ped finally recognized the song from Ern's clues. But when he tried to sing, he ended up shouting the lyrics instead of singing them. This made all the other kids laugh even more. Not long after, it was Ern's turn to come to the front of the class and sing the song she had taught to Ped. With her sweet voice, Ern was able to get all her classmates to sing along with her. Meanwhile, Ped was secretly amazed by how well Ern could sing. After school, Ped and Kung were hanging out at the school playground, waiting for Kung's ride home. There, Ped asked Kung about the song Ern sang in class. And Kung, who was practicing his guitar, confidently answered all of Ped's questions. But then their friend, Tuong, started teasing Kung about his answers. Kung got annoyed and decided to play a prank on Tuong by putting him in a spinning playground bowl and making it spin really fast. While Kung was doing this, his twin brother, K, came over and stopped him, telling him that their mom had arrived to pick them up. Kung wasn't happy about it, but he packed up his things and went home with K. A little later, Ped helped Tuong get out of the spinning bowl. Just then, their homeroom teacher came over and asked Ped to find Ern because her grandmother had come to pick her up. Ped quickly ran over to where Ern was, sitting on a bench at the edge of the field, studying and listening to music with earphones on. Since Ern was wearing earphones, Ped had to call her name several times before she noticed him. Once she did, Ped quickly told her that her grandmother had come to pick her up. While talking about music, Ped and Ern walked together toward the school gate where Ern's grandmother was waiting. Then, Ern shared that her dream was to create her own music album and sell it in her family's record shop. She even let Ped listen to some of her favorite songs by giving him one of her earphones. Ped felt both shy and happy during this moment, but soon they had to say goodbye because Ern had to go home. Before leaving, she handed Ped a cassette tape with her favorite songs and told him that she would be moving to Bangkok in a few days. Hearing this news made Ped really sad because he realized he would be saying goodbye to someone he cared about. As he walked past a market, Ped put on his earphones and listened to a song about heartbreak, imagining the singer singing right beside him. When Ped got home, still thinking about Ern's upcoming move, he suddenly had the idea to record a song as a memory. So, he went to Kung's house to borrow a guitar. When he arrived, Kung's twin brother, K, greeted him because Kung was busy playing video games, looking a bit bruised, like he had just argued with K. With the guitar in hand, Ped started learning how to play and recorded a song using the cassette tape Ern had given him. As the evening came, Ped rushed to Ern's family's record shop to give her the tape. But when he got there, the shop was already closed. Desperate, Ped tried calling Ern from a public phone. Unfortunately, her father answered, and to avoid revealing who he was, Ped pretended to be Kung. Ern's father wasn't happy about the late-night call, so he scolded Ped and hung up, leaving him unable to talk to Ern. The next day at school, Tuong sang a song in front of the class with lyrics that teased about Kung and Ern being a couple. This made Ped realize that the gossip had started because he pretended to be Kung on the phone with Ern's father. Ern was upset by the rumors and went to Kung, crying and telling him she didn't like being teased like that. Feeling guilty and discouraged, Ped decided not to give Ern the recording he had made and watched as she eventually moved away to Bangkok. A few years later, Kung and his friends were now in high school. One night, they were at a school festival watching K and his band perform on stage. And Kung, feeling jealous of his twin brother's popularity, told Ped that there was nothing interesting happening at the festival, so he suggested they leave. The next morning, while Kung and Ped were playing cards in class, Tuong, who was still in their class, came over and told them that a beautiful new girl had just transferred to their school. Curious, Kung and Ped followed Tuong to see who she was talking about. To their surprise, the new student was Ern. Ped was overjoyed to see her again, like he had found his long-lost friend. After school, Ped was so happy that he walked home while listening to cheerful songs, feeling like the music was following him all the way. The next day, after seeing Ern again, Kung suddenly suggested that he and Ped start a band. It seemed like Kung wanted to impress Ern, knowing she loved music. At first, Ped wasn't interested in the idea, but Kung kept trying to convince him. Kung even showed Ped a special guitar pick he had made from his favorite card, hoping to win him over. Seeing how determined Kung was, Ped finally agreed, and they decided to recruit X to be their drummer. Soon after, they went to find X, who was playing basketball at the time. But just as X was about to make a shot, he fell and broke a bone, which meant he had to wear a cast on his hand. One day, Kung secretly told Tuong about his new band. Tuong, who worked as a school announcer, then made an announcement that the band Kung and Friends, with 3 members, would perform at a mall over the weekend. Kung and the others didn't want to embarrass themselves in front of their schoolmates, so they decided they had to practice. They planned to rehearse at a rented music studio. However, because the studio was always busy, they only managed to get 1 hour of practice time. During their first practice, Kung, who was supposed to be the vocalist, just ended up shouting into the microphone, and X played the drums out of rhythm, which left Ped completely confused. Every time they tried to practice after that, something would go wrong, and they kept running out of time, leaving Ped frustrated. Despite not having much practice, Kung and Friends still went ahead with their performance at the mall. But when they got there, they realized it was a children's event. When the host called them up to perform, Ped and the others went on stage, but they played a loud rock song full of Kung screams. This made many parents cover their children's ears. Meanwhile, Ern and her friends were also at the mall and witnessed the band's chaotic performance. And Tuong, who was there too, recorded the whole scene, capturing all the chaos caused by Kung's band. Back at school, Tuong showed the video of Kung's performance to their classmates. This made Kung and the others the subject of teasing and jokes from their friends. Feeling annoyed, Kung and Ped left the classroom and, by chance, saw Ern playing guitar and singing with her friends. Seeing this, they decided to try and recruit Ern to be the vocalist and guitarist for their band. Not long after, they encountered the school's most popular band, The Arena, which was led by K. There, Tuong told them that The Arena was going to compete in a music contest. Hearing this, Kung got excited and immediately signed up their band to compete against his twin brother's band. Even though Ped was a bit nervous about it, Kung got encouragement from Ern, who agreed to join their band. After school, Kung and the others planned to practice at a music studio, but they couldn't find any free time slots. So, X offered his dad's cake shop as a place to practice. They went to the shop and set up a practice area in the warehouse, which was full of stuff. The 4 of them cleaned up the space and turned it into a simple music studio. After practicing together, they read the contest rules and found out that they had to write and perform a love song. Later, Ern and Ped met up to talk about the song they would write for the contest. At that time, Ern even lent Ped some love songs that he could use as inspiration for writing the lyrics. At home, Ped started thinking about the moments he had shared with Ern and began writing lyrics inspired by her. While he was working on the song, Kung suddenly showed up and discovered what Ped had written. He read the lyrics and seemed to really like what Ped had created. On the night of the school festival, Ped, Ern, and Kung watched the band The Arena perform. Kung, who had a crush on Ern, tried to impress her by giving her gifts. Ped felt jealous and decided to leave, telling everyone he needed to finish his song. As he walked home, Ped put on his earphones and listened to a sad song about heartbreak. At home, Ped got a call from Kung, who was crying. Kung told Ped that he had bought train tickets for them to go out of town because he was heartbroken. The next day, Ped met up with Kung on the train. When Ped asked what was wrong, Kung confessed that Ern had rejected him. Not long after, X joined them, also feeling down because the girl he liked turned him down in favor of a more tomboyish girl. To cheer themselves up, Kung and X drank soda, pretending it was beer, until they both fell asleep. When they arrived in Bangkok, Ped and his friends got off the train and started exploring the city. At that time, X noticed another beautiful girl, but she was with a tomboyish friend, which annoyed him. Then, he asked his friends to leave the area. Soon after, the 3 of them went to a stadium where a band was performing on stage. And Kung, caught up in the music, moved closer to the stage and ended up putting his hands together with the band's lead singer, even though they were filming a music video. Because of this, Kung and his friends were kicked out of the stadium. As they left, Kung threw his guitar pick and promised to return one day as a performer on that stage. After their trip to Bangkok, Kung, Ped, and X decided to start a new band. They named it Sucks-It, but when they registered for a music competition over the phone, their band was mistakenly listed as Succeed. At school, Ped asked Ern if she still wanted to join his band. Ern said no because things were awkward between her and Kung after he confessed his feelings and got rejected. Ped understood but told her he was still excited to hear the album she planned to make. After school, Kung was still determined to compete with The Arena. He was so serious about it that he even bought Ped a bass guitar so Ped could practice more. One day, Kung was in the school bathroom and overheard the vocalist of The Arena talking badly about K and bragging that the band wouldn't survive without him. Kung got really angry hearing someone insult his twin brother, so he filled a bucket with water and dumped it on the vocalist while he was in the bathroom stall. He even pretended to be K and ended up getting into a fight with the vocalist, even though he got hit too. Later at home, K noticed Kung's bruised face and realized Kung was the one who stood up for him. Even though K acted like he didn't care, he told Kung that he had kicked the rude vocalist out of the band and found a new singer. To everyone's surprise, the new vocalist was Ern. This made Ped and the others feel nervous because now they had to compete against Ern in the upcoming contest. That evening, Ped met Ern at the record shop to return the cassette she had lent him and the one she gave him when they were in elementary school. When Ern was at home, she listened to the additional recording that Ped had made in the past. She immediately called Ped and asked him to meet up. Then, they talked and sang a song that Ped had written. During their conversation, Ped explained that he had pretended to be Kung on the phone in the past because he was scared of Ern's father. As the competition day got closer, Ped and his band practiced hard in their simple music studio. They recorded their song and sent it to the competition committee. On the day when the top 10 bands were announced, Ped and his friends anxiously waited to hear if their band's name would be called on the radio. X even turned off the radio after 9 bands were announced, thinking they didn't make it. Because of this, they didn't know who the last band to be selected was. But then, Ern called Ped and excitedly told him that their band was among the top 10, along with The Arena. At that moment, Ped and his friends were thrilled. After that, the three of them started preparing for the festival. With their usual crazy ideas, Kung and the others practiced some wild stunts, even pretending to be people who had taken too many drugs, just to make their performance more entertaining. Meanwhile, Ped and Ern grew closer when Ped helped Ern pick out a guitar she would use for the competition. On the night of the final judging, the 10 selected bands were called up one by one to perform their songs. When it was The Arena's turn, Ern surprised Ped and his friends by performing a song that Ped had written. Kung became furious, thinking that Ped had secretly given the song to Ern. During their own band's performance, Kung got so angry that he walked off the stage before they even finished the song. Shortly after, Ped quickly followed Kung, trying to explain, but Kung refused to listen. Feeling guilty about what happened, Ped decided to end his friendship with Ern. After the festival, Ped and Kung's friendship grew more distant. They stopped talking to each other entirely until they graduated from school. On their last day of school, Ped returned the guitar that Kung had given him and then went to sit alone by the lake, listening to a sad song and thinking about how their friendship, which had lasted since childhood, had fallen apart. Several years later, Ped attended a high school reunion where The Arena, now a successful band with a popular album, was performing as a special guest. At the reunion, Ped ran into X, who now had long hair, and they watched The Arena perform together. After Ern finished performing, Ped approached her to ask for an autograph. As they chatted, it was clear that they still had feelings for each other. During the event, Tuong played a video of them from high school, including the embarrassing moment when Kung and friends messed up at a children's event. In that moment, Ped tried to talk to Kung, but Kung ignored him, so Ped decided to go on stage and sing their band's song, Succeed. As Kung walked further away, Ped sang louder, and eventually Kung and X, who were both crying, joined him on stage to sing together. The audience was touched by their performance, and Kung and Ped finally made up. At the end of the film, Ped, Kung, X, and Ern formed a new band and were shown performing at an event. After finishing their performance, They all excitedly jumped onto a pile of tomatoes in front of the stage. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is sometimes messing up on stage can lead to epic friendships and hilarious memories. Plus, it's way more fun to rock out with your buddies than to hold grudges.